Hello. I didn't expect it to happen on a Tuesday night. We were standing in my kitchen, the kind of quiet evening that's supposed to mean comfort. I was rinsing a plate. She was leaning against the counter scrolling through her phone, already annoyed about something I hadn't even been informed of yet. She sighed loudly. The dramatic kind. The pay attention to me kind. We need to talk, she said. Those words are never neutral. They're either a warning or a weapon. With her, it was usually both. I turned off the faucet and looked at her. Okay. She didn't look up. I've been feeling limited, she said. Like this relationship isn't giving me everything I need anymore. That was her favorite phrase when she wanted something unreasonable to sound thoughtful. Limited how? I asked. I want to open the relationship, she said. I waited for the follow-up. The reassurance. The "this doesn't mean I don't love you" speech. It didn't come. Either we open it, she continued, crossing her arms, or we're done. There it was. Clean. Final. No room for discussion. She watched my face closely, clearly expecting panic, bargaining, fear. She was used to being chased back into comfort. Something strange happened instead. I felt calm. Not relieved. Not angry. Just clear. Okay, I said. Her eyebrows knit together. Okay, what? Okay, I repeated. If that's what you want. She blinked. You're not even going to argue? I shrugged. You've already decided. That seemed to irritate her more than resistance would have. So you're just fine with me dating other people? I didn't say that, I replied. I said okay. She smirked then, confident. Good. Because I already have people in mind. That was the moment something inside me quietly stepped back. She thought she'd won. She thought I'd fold, stay put, wait my turn. She had no idea that my okay wasn't permission. It was my exit. And I'd already started walking. She just hadn't noticed yet. The rest of that night passed like a poorly written scene she thought she controlled. She grabbed her bag, announced she was meeting friends, and paused at the door like she expected me to stop her. To ask questions. To beg for rules. To negotiate boundaries so she could feel desired while still holding the upper hand. I didn't. Have fun, I said. That really threw her. She hesitated. So, we should probably set some ground rules later. Sure, I replied. We can talk about it. Another pause. Her eyes narrowed, like she was trying to find the trick. You're being weird, she said. I've been told, I answered. The door closed. Her footsteps faded. And for the first time in months, my apartment felt quiet in a good way. I didn't text her. I didn't stalk her location. I didn't spiral. Instead, I sat on my couch and replayed the conversation, not emotionally, but analytically. She hadn't asked how I felt. She hadn't asked what I needed. She hadn't even framed it as us exploring something together. It was an ultimatum designed to scare me into compliance. And when it didn't, she left anyway, confident I'd still be there. That's when I opened my phone. Not to check on her. To open a dating app one hadn't touched in years. I updated nothing dramatic. Recent photos. Honest bio. No bitterness. No ethically non-monogamous performance. Just me. Within an hour, I had matches. Real ones. Conversations that didn't feel like interviews or power struggles. Women asking about me instead of what I could tolerate. By the time my girlfriend texted later that night, we'll talk tomorrow. Don't overthink this. I was already making plans. Friday dinner. Saturday coffee. Sunday drinks. Not revenge dates. Not flexes. Just proof. Proof that I wasn't disposable. Proof that I wasn't stuck. Proof that the moment she opened the door, I realized I didn't actually want to stay inside anymore. She thought opening the relationship meant expanding her options. She never considered that it expanded mine too. And she definitely didn't expect me to walk through it first. She didn't come home that night. Not unusual for her. She liked space when it was her idea. What she didn't like was losing visibility. Around 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. You okay? You've been quiet. I didn't reply right away. I was out for a late drink with someone named Claire. Easy laugh. No edge. No weird power plays. She asked what I did for fun. Not what my boundaries were. Not what I could handle. Just me. By the time I got home, my girlfriend had sent another message. We'll figure this out. Don't get in your head. That sentence said more than she realized. She still thought this was something she was managing. Friday came fast. She acted normal in the morning. Too normal. Kiss on the cheek. Casual, text me later. The confidence of someone who believed she had leverage. Friday night, I had dinner plans. I told her. With who? She asked, tone sharp but trying to sound relaxed. Someone I met, I said. Her smile froze. Already. You said we're open, I replied. She laughed, but it was brittle. Wow. Guess you were more ready for this than I thought. I shrugged. Guess so. Saturday was coffee with someone else. Sunday was drinks with a third. Nothing dramatic. No posting. No flaunting. Just presence. Connection. Conversations where I wasn't being tested. Meanwhile, her text shifted. Shorter. Edgier. So you're just going all in, huh? Feels like you're trying to prove something. I wasn't. I was discovering something. Sunday night, she came over unannounced. Walked into my apartment like she owned it. Eyes scanning for evidence. So, she said, arms crossed. How was your weekend? Good. I replied honestly. She didn't like that. You didn't even ask about mine. I looked at her. Did you want me to? She opened her mouth, then stopped. That wasn't how this was supposed to go. This feels disrespectful, she snapped. You're acting like I don't matter. I met her gaze calm. You told me we were done otherwise. She stared at me, something flickering behind her eyes. For the first time since the ultimatum, she looked unsure. And that's when I realized this wasn't an open relationship to her. It was a loyalty test. One she was starting to fail. By Monday, she was irritated in a way she couldn't hide anymore. She sat on my couch like she was waiting for an apology that wasn't coming, arms crossed, jaw tight. I offered her water. She waved it off. So, she said, we need to talk about boundaries. I almost laughed. Okay, I said. What about them? She inhaled sharply, already annoyed that I wasn't preemptively defensive. This whole thing is starting to feel one-sided. I tilted my head. How so? Well, she said, choosing her words carefully. When I suggested opening the relationship, I didn't mean you'd just go wild. I blinked. You didn't say that. She rolled her eyes. Don't play dumb. I meant casual. Exploration. Not you lining up dates like you're replacing me. There it was. Open, for her. Contained, for me. So you want rules now? I asked. Yes, she snapped. Obviously. We should have set them from the start. Like what? I said. She hesitated, then said, no dating people you actually like. No repeats. And I don't want to hear details. I stared at her for a moment, then nodded slowly. That sounds very specific. Because this is about freedom, not feelings, she said. I don't want to lose what we have. I didn't answer right away. What we had, I said finally, ended when you gave me an ultimatum. Her eyes flashed. You're being dramatic again. No, I said calmly. I'm being accurate. She leaned forward. You're punishing me. I'm participating, I replied. That really set her off. You're enjoying this, she accused. You're trying to make me jealous. I shook my head. I'm enjoying being treated like an option for the first time in a while. That landed harder than I expected. She stood abruptly. This isn't what I wanted. I met her eyes. Then why did you threaten to leave over it? Silence. She grabbed her bag. You're changing. I nodded. I think I am. She left without another word, slamming the door harder than necessary. I sat there for a long time after, thinking about how fast confidence turns into panic when control slips. She thought opening the relationship would loosen her leash. Instead, it showed her she never had one on me at all. Tuesday night, she didn't text me at all. That alone would have been unthinkable a week earlier. She was the kind of person who checked in constantly, not out of care, but surveillance. Silence was new. Intentional. Wednesday afternoon, she finally called. I've been thinking, she said, voice clipped. This isn't working. I leaned back in my chair. You mean the open relationship? No, she snapped. There it was again. When something doesn't go her way, it becomes a character flaw in the other person. You're being cold. Distant. It feels like you're already gone, she continued. If this is how you're going to act, then what's the point of staying together? I almost smiled. You told me we'd be done otherwise. I reminded her. Yes, but... She stopped herself, clearly frustrated. I didn't think you'd take it like this. Like what? Like you don't need me. That was the first honest thing she'd said since this started. That night, she came over again. Different energy this time. Softer clothes. No edge in her voice. She sat close, touched my arm, laughed too easily. You know, she said, we don't have to do this forever. We can always close it again. Can we? I asked. She hesitated. If things get weird. Things were already weird. They just weren't in her favor anymore. She glanced at my phone when it buzzed on the table. Not subtle. I didn't move it. Are you seeing her again? She asked. Someone, I said. Her jaw tightened. You're really not holding back. I'm just not holding on, I replied. That's when the mask slipped. So what? You're just shopping around until you find an upgrade, she snapped. After everything we've been through? No, I said calmly. I'm seeing what it feels like not to be threatened into staying. She stood up abruptly. You're enjoying watching me squirm. I shook my head. I'm noticing who you are when you don't get your way. She stared at me, chest rising and falling, like she was recalculating in real time. For the first time, she looked scared, not of losing the relationship, of losing control over it. And once that fear shows up, there's no pretending this was ever about freedom. By Friday, she was unraveling. Not loudly. Not yet. It was the tight kind of unraveling, the kind where someone is still pretending they're in charge while frantically checking every door to see which one is closing. She texted me that morning like nothing was wrong. "What are you doing tonight?" I waited an hour before replying. "Going out." Immediately. "With who?" "Someone I'm seeing." That word, seeing, did more damage than if I'd named anyone. She called. I let it ring twice before answering. "This is getting out of hand," she said, skipping any greeting. "You're acting like you're single." I paused. "You told me I was." "That's not what I meant, and you know it," she snapped. "I thought we'd ease into this." "You're being reckless." "Reckless would have been staying when you threatened to leave to get your way," I replied. She went quiet. "Then, are you trying to hurt me?" "No," I said honestly. "I'm trying not to hurt myself." That night, I went on another date. Dinner. Conversation. No drama. No games. Just someone who didn't speak to me like I was a liability she was tolerating. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed nonstop. "You're really choosing strangers over me. I didn't think you'd disrespect me like this. This is not what opening a relationship looks like." I didn't respond. Saturday morning, she showed up at my place again, no warning. Hair done. Outfit deliberate. Smile forced. "We need to reset," she said, stepping inside like she still had that right. "This has gone too far." I leaned against the counter. "You don't get to decide that anymore." Her smile cracked. "So what? You're punishing me now." "No," I said. "I'm accepting the terms you gave me." She laughed, sharp and humorless. "You think this makes you look confident? It makes you look disposable." I looked at her for a long moment before answering. "I felt disposable when you threatened to leave unless I agreed to something I didn't want," I said quietly. This just confirmed it. That was when her voice changed. "Are you breaking up with me?" I didn't answer right away, because the truth was, I already had. I just hadn't said it out loud yet. And judging by the fear in her eyes, she finally realized something she never planned for. She didn't open the relationship. She opened the door, and I was already on the other side. Sunday night, she finally broke character. No edge. No sarcasm. No superiority. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, fingers wrapped around a mug she hadn't touched, eyes fixed on a spot just past my shoulder. "I don't like this," she said quietly. I didn't respond. "I thought opening things would make us stronger," she continued. "I thought you'd realize you still wanted me." There it was. Not freedom. Not growth. Validation. "You didn't want an open relationship," I said calmly. "You wanted reassurance." She looked up fast. "That's not fair." "It is," I replied. "You threatened to leave so I'd fight to keep you. And when I didn't, you panicked." She shook her head. "You're twisting this." "No," I said. "I'm finally seeing it clearly." Her voice cracked. "I didn't think you'd actually move on." I leaned back. That's the risk with ultimatums. Sometimes people accept them. She stood abruptly and started pacing. "So what? You're just done?" she snapped. "You're throwing us away because I made one mistake?" "It wasn't one mistake," I said. "It was a pattern. And this was the moment it became obvious." She stopped pacing and stared at me. "You're not even angry." "I was," I admitted. "Before. When I thought I had to earn my place here." She swallowed. "And now?" "Now I don't," I said. Silence stretched between us, heavy and uncomfortable. Then she said the thing she never should have. "If you leave," she said, voice low, "you'll regret it. I won't wait around forever." I nodded. "You shouldn't." That answer broke whatever hope she had left. Her eyes filled, but this time there was no performance. Just loss. And for the first time since this started, I realized something painful and final. She didn't miss me. She missed the version of me who stayed no matter how little he was valued. And that version was already gone. Monday morning, she texted me like nothing had happened. "We should close the relationship. This experiment clearly isn't healthy." Experiment. That word did a lot of work for her. It made the ultimatum sound like curiosity instead of control. It reframed the damage as mutual instead of intentional. I stared at the message for a long time before replying. "I'm not interested in closing it," I typed. 3 dots appeared instantly. "What do you mean you're not interested?" This was never meant to be permanent. I met her later that afternoon, mostly because I wanted to see her face when I said it out loud. She sat across from me at a cafe, already tense, jaw clenched like she was preparing for battle. "This has gone far enough," she said. "I'm calling it." We go back to normal. I folded my hands. There is no normal to go back to. Her eyes widened. You don't get to decide that alone. You decided we'd open the relationship alone, I said calmly. I'm just responding. That's different, she snapped. I was trying to grow. No, I said. You were trying to shake me. She leaned forward. So what? You're choosing random girls over me now? I shook my head. I'm choosing not to stay where I'm threatened. Her voice dropped, sharp and desperate. If you don't close this, I'm done. There it was again. The same move. The same card. And this time, I didn't even hesitate. Okay, I said. Her mouth opened slightly. Okay, what? Okay, I repeated. Then we're done. The color drained from her face. That's not how this was supposed to go, she whispered. I know, I replied. That's the problem. She reached across the table, grabbing my wrist. You can't just walk away now. I gently pulled my hand back. I already did. She sat there, stunned, as if she'd just realized the door she thought she controlled no longer existed. Because the moment she tried to close the relationship wasn't the moment she saved it. It was the moment she confirmed I'd already left. After that cafe conversation, something in her broke. Not immediately. At first, it was denial. Long texts explaining what she really meant. Voice notes where she laughed nervously and said we were both being dramatic. Messages framed like jokes that weren't funny. We don't have to tell anyone about this. We can pretend it never happened. I was just going through a phase. I didn't respond. By Wednesday, denial turned into panic. She called me late at night, voice shaky. I don't like sleeping alone, she said. This feels wrong. I stayed quiet. You're really just okay with losing me? She asked. I didn't lose you, I said evenly. You walked away first. I just didn't chase. That's when the begging started. She showed up at my place unannounced. Eyes red, makeup smudged, none of the confidence she used like armor before. She stood there like someone waiting for permission to come back inside a life they'd already burned down. I made a mistake, she said quickly. I was insecure. I thought if you wanted other people, it would prove you still wanted me most. I stared at her, stunned by the honesty and the selfishness wrapped together so tightly she couldn't separate them. You turned our relationship into a test, I said. She nodded frantically. I know, but we can fix it. I'll block everyone. I'll do therapy. We'll reset. Please. Please. That word hit harder than her ultimatum ever had. Not because it moved me, but because it came too late. You didn't want freedom, I said quietly. You wanted control without accountability. Her voice cracked. I just wanted to feel chosen. I took a slow breath. I wanted to feel safe. She reached for me again. I stepped back. You still choose me, she said desperately. You're just scared. I shook my head. No, I finally stopped being scared. She sank onto the couch, sobbing now, hands over her face. So that's it. I nodded. That's it. She looked up at me through tears. You're really walking away? I picked up my keys. I already have. And for the first time, she understood what she'd lost. Not because I replaced her, but because I no longer needed her to feel whole. That realization hurt her more than jealousy ever could. The last time I saw her, it wasn't dramatic. No yelling. No tears. No grand speech about love or betrayal. She just stood in my doorway, arms folded tight around herself, eyes scanning my apartment like she was looking for proof that I'd moved on faster than she could process. You didn't even replace me, she said bitterly. You just left. I nodded. That's usually how walking away works. She laughed softly, the sound hollow. So all those dates, that was it? You just needed distractions? No, I said. I needed clarity. She shook her head. You could have fought for us. I did, I replied. Before you threatened to end it to get what you wanted. Silence settled between us. Heavy. Final. You still care, she said, almost pleading. I can see it. I do, I said honestly. Just not enough to stay. That was the moment she finally understood. It wasn't the dates that ended things. It wasn't jealousy. It wasn't someone else. It was the instant she turned our relationship into leverage. I didn't leave because I found better. I left because I found peace. She stood there for another second, waiting for something. Anger, hesitation, regret. When none came, she exhaled sharply and turned away. Don't come back, she said over her shoulder. I didn't answer, because by the time she said it, I was already gone. Not emotionally, not mentally. I had left the moment she said, open the relationship or we're done, and assumed I'd stay scared enough to comply. My okay wasn't surrender. It was acceptance. And once you accept that someone is willing to lose you to feel powerful, the only real move left is to walk away, quietly, cleanly, without needing permission. That's what I did. And I don't regret it. Bye-bye.